Alright guys, we've got a ton of progress to make today, and a very key part of getting this R33 together and running just came in like ridiculous amount of time. And by that I mean super quick. So if you guys remember, the same company that we worked with on Nicole's 1JZ build, Wiring Specialties, was able to get us a harness in a ridiculously short amount of time, because technically, even though the 26 is super similar to the 25, there are different connectors, and by getting a harness through them, we basically have a plug-and-play affair instead of having to worry about wiring and dealing with a bunch of gross old connectors. So we've got a beautiful new harness from them that's going to make life very easy. And look at this. They added a nice special little touch just for us. So rad. All right, Alberto, you ready to start doing harness things?
No.
Alberto doesn't like wiring. I do. I get enjoyment out of it. You want me to do it? You can just watch. Eat some cookies, some hot chocolate. The challenging part is just getting all the connectors through the hole, but shouldn't be too bad. My lack of sleep's been catching up to me, and unfortunately there's not really much I can be doing on R33 right now. We're waiting on a few parts, and the stuff that Alberto's doing I can't really do much without getting in his way. So instead of just standing around, I think I'm gonna go get some coffee, try to get a little more energy, and then I'm gonna try to pull the trans on the S15 myself. This car is actually probably gonna be one of the easiest cars to pull transmission on that I've ever worked on. And it'll be kind of fascinating to show you guys how this was like purposely designed to be easily serviceable, and I'm kind of excited to give it a shot. I'm hoping it'll take somewhere between like an hour and 2 hours. Probably do it in like 30 minutes once I get really good at it. But that's maybe with another person and all the tools like already picked out and stuff. So it should be fun. So conveniently enough, this whole entire exhaust is actually just one piece. So all we really need to undo to get it off the car is this one V-band clamp. So looks like an 11. I love V-bands. That was easy. Kind of a funny story, back before I knew what V-band clamps were, I actually used to think they were called B-band clamps because of Alberto's accent. He would always just go, oh, we need to put a B-band on that. And then, yeah, now I know they're V-bands, like V for violin. Rather than dealing with all the exhaust hangers, I just unbolted most of them. I am going to see if I can slide this one out. I should just unbolt this one too. Huh. How heavy is this? I think I can handle it. Don't hit my camera, don't hit my camera. I think it looks pretty light. So if you aren't familiar with it, obviously the oval exhaust tubing is basically just to tuck up underneath the car as much as possible while still providing a lot of exhaust flow. That way you don't have to worry about hitting it on stuff if you were to have a bigger diameter actual like 4-inch exhaust pipe, because this is 4-inch. If the drive shaft ever breaks or comes out, it can do some really crazy stuff. It can even like catapult the car and make a lot of not fun stuff happen. So one of the regulations in FD, and the reason why this car has this drive shaft loop, is to prevent that from happening. So I got the bolts and back undone, and now I just got to boom, 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 and then we can pull this guy out too. Pretty cool, first time doing a carbon drive shaft. Huh. If I were a drive shaft, how would I be removed from my... Holy crap, this thing is light. You put the roll bearings back on? Yep. Just to, you know, the drive shaft loop is heavier than the whole drive shaft. Well, that's what you don't want to happen. This can't fall out. Now we've just got to remove where the actual sequential shifter bolt's on. And then there's one sensor that we have to remove on this side. There's a little valve up here that's actually a quick release for the clutch, which is pretty cool. It's gonna be hard for you to see though until it's actually off the car. It doesn't leak any fluid. That's sick. We gotta put these quick release valves on all my cars. That is so sick. I bet that means that you won't have to like bleed it as much either.
Like a push lock?
Yeah, it just pushes in, locks. Wow, that's rad. Got to pull the starter now before I start undoing the bell housing bolts, but I'm gonna have to unhook the power in the trunk first. Alberto's very upset with me right now because I'm using, he thinks that
Wait. Let me back up so it's in the shot all the way.
He thinks that I only need like 3 extensions, but the problem is we don't have long enough ones, so we're going with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 extensions. There's probably so much flex that I won't even be able to turn the ratchet, but got access to the bolts somehow, you know what I'm saying? So, just gonna finagle her in there. And try to line her up. Oh dude, golden dude. Money. Ready? Is it gonna work?
We'll see.
There's so much flex. Either we broke an extension or the bolt is loose. And I think the bolt is loose. So the ideal way to do this would be to lower the trans mount so we have a little more room to access. But we honestly don't need it. This is plenty of room up here. Having a good time, just pulling a trans. It's probably the easiest trans pull I've ever done, that's for sure. I'm gonna have Alberto help me lift it though. I don't think, I've been working out a lot. I've been following it pretty cool.
Wait, you left 2 bolts on it?
What?
On
Yeah.
the rest of me?
Yeah, it's not hanging yet.
Wait, those are the oil pan ones, no, the ones with the block.
What? What are
Yeah.
you talking about? Oh, there's ones from the back?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't do those ones. You know what?
Wait.
What? I got all the bolts. They're just loose. They're not in.
Grab it right. Unflip.
Okay, slow. What's
Wait.
up with that line?
It's a breather.
Oh,
Okay.
so how do we pull it up?
Okay, 1 second. You got it?
There we go. Okay.
Alright, down.
Seems pretty light, huh?
It's not as bad as what Tommy was saying.
That's not. Your downpipe's so big that it fits the fist test, and you got really big fists. This would be a great time to do any clutch service, but we just recently did that, so yep, don't need to do that. Table, borrowed a nice little table from our neighbors over at PSI. I just want to keep everything with this trans just designated in one workspace, so we don't have any confusion or parts getting mixed up or missing. Alberto has taken apart and diagnosed like G-Force dog boxes before, and we were just on the phone with Rad Dan and he was kind of walking us through it. And this seems like way simpler than what Alberto's used to working on, so I have 100% confidence that he'll be able to pull this thing apart.
Let's do it.
Interesting and useful information today, both from opening it and speaking with Rad Dan, who is kind of like our little Samsonus expert since he works with him so often. We actually found out that although we were told the 5-speed is stronger than the 6-speed, the 5-speed and the 6-speed are identical. I guess just instead of having a spacer, we have an extra gear. So we aren't at a disadvantage because of the 6-speed. But the reason it broke wasn't because of power, wasn't because I was shifting it too hard or bashing rev limiter, or because I was using a clutch. Rad Dan always uses a clutch. Doesn't have any issues with his transmission. All it does is kind of prevent wear a little bit. I saw comments from YouTube mechanics telling me that I have to not use the clutch because using the clutch is bad for the sequential. That's false. The problem, all right, to basically give you a very simplistic explanation of how this stuff works, you have these little, what are they called, dog gears, Alberto, these pieces? And if you look, they have these little angles, and that dog noise you hear when that goes into gear, that's it basically walking on this with those little slants. So what happened was, we think maybe I didn't pull the shifter hard enough actually, and if you look right in here, this dog gear, it rounded off the edge, and when the edge is round, it won't engage, and that's why it kept just bouncing out of gear. So you can see both on the right side of the one that's lower on the screen, you can see that that's rounded out, and then if you look at the top one, the left side is rounded out. So they just kind of slide off each other, and that's why it would just bounce back into another gear rather than staying in like we'd want it to. So unfortunately, it is going to be a little bit difficult to get the parts because we obviously have to take it apart, find the part number and all that stuff. But I do feel a little bit better knowing that I don't have a disadvantage by having a 6-speed, and the fact that this isn't something that will probably keep happening in a competition format, because it isn't because of a weak transmission. It was a driver error of me not pulling it hard enough. So I guess I just have to start banging gears with no fear. I walk away for 1 second and this guy's got all the gears all pulled out. So were we able to get the part number so we can figure out what to order?
Yeah.
All right, let's cross our fingers that they are going to be in stock. So as always with my builds, it's always trying to find that fine balance of form and function, but I always kind of err on the side of function over form. So in regards to the turbo setup on this car, we were kind of faced with a dilemma. The number one most important thing was making sure there's clearance, because of the fact that this manifold is like a universal RB manifold. It doesn't put the turbo as far forward as we would have liked it. So we ran into clearance issues with actually this part of the strut tower. So there were basically two options. The ideal way that I would have liked to do it for aesthetic reasons would have been to have the turbo clocked so the piping goes down and is kind of hidden here. However, Alberto and I were both concerned that with the wastegate right down here, having all that heat really close to the coupler, which would have fallen very, very close to it, could have presented issues with couplers melting, and boost leaks, and just make a car that we want to be a reliable street car unreliable. So I think still your welds came out really nice, and the way that we were able to do this, I think it still looks really clean, and I think it's going to function really well. This is kind of funny because Alberto's like nice clean welds. We both agreed they looked too shiny to where it like took too much attention away, and we can't like paint them, so we're just scuffing them up a little bit so they're not
Right. Thank you very much, sir.
I'm just trying to, I don't want your weld to look too nice.
So I put a lot of effort into making the wheels nice and shiny because it's cast aluminum and it's kind of like hard, and you get like a bunch of like little black spots or dull spots. But I made him shinier. Now Adam's making them dull with a wire brush.
We should. People are going to be like, oh, Adam, why would you do that, Alberto? He did it first. He started doing it because he agreed with me.
Okay, you gotta agree with the boss, right?
Shut up. Don't make me feel like a bad guy. This is Alberto's idea. Me and Big Boost are gonna go to some burgers. It's a Friday night date. You know how it is. Drift cars is dude's gonna get some burgers. I'm lonely. Please don't judge me. Me and Alberto have been having some very serious discussions over some burgers and shakes. I almost got you on camera.
You almost got me making fun of it, huh?
Yep, almost, but I missed it.
I should have kept doing it. That was my one chance.
Yep, your one shot.